This is Senior Algebra, Section 1.3, Variables, Expressions, and Equations. We're going to be evaluating expressions, looking at differences between expressions and equations and inequalities, and looking at some solutions here. So, in example 1, it says, find the value of each algebraic expression when x is 4 and y is 5. So looking at A here, we have 3x minus 2y. When I substitute things in, I do want to put them in parentheses. Remember, 3x means 3 times x. So that's 3 times 4 and 2 times 5. Now it has a negative 2, so we get 12 minus 10, which is 2 here. In B, we take 9 parentheses, and we put the 4 in there because that's our x. We square it, minus, and then whatever y is. Notice, when I do this, I put the 5 in parentheses there. At this point, I'm going to take 9 times 16. Now, what is 9 times 16? Offhand, I don't know, but I do know 9 and 9 is 3 and 3. 16 is 4 and 4. And if I kind of rearrange it, I can look at it and say, well, okay, I know 3 and 4 is 12. I know the other 3 and the other 4 is 12. 12 times 12, that's 144. I can do that. So I get 144 minus 5, which gives me 139. Looking at C, there we go. So C, quite a bit more complicated than the other ones here. Some things that we want to take a look at. First of all, the negative in front of y squared. That really means a negative 1. So when I put it, it's a negative and then a 5 in the parentheses squared, plus 2 parentheses, the x is a 4, squared, and then minus 3 parentheses 5, all over 5. Now I am going to put that 1 in front of the behind the negative. There we go. So that means negative 1 times 5 squared. Order of operations says I have to do the 5 squared first, which is 25. So negative 1 times 25 gives me a negative 25. Place where a lot of people, students and otherwise, will make a mistake here. Inside, I'm going to do 4 times 2, which is 8. 8 squared, which is 64. At this point now I have negative or minus, then 3 times 5 divided by 5. Now, you could do 3 times 5, which is 15, and 15 divided by 5 is 3 there. You could also go, well, it's 3 times 5 divided by 5. I could cancel out the 5s and get 3 as well there. Either way would be fine. At this point, I'm going to do negative 25 plus 64 minus 3. Again, I have options here. I do want to be careful with the negatives. Some people like to change it into plus negative with that 3. You don't have to. If I do the negative 25 plus 64, I get 39. 39 minus 3 is 36, eventually. Yeah, here we go. So that's 36. Now, I also could have done it a little bit differently. I could have done the 64 minus 3 first. Okay? I could have put the negatives together, negative 25 and a negative 3 to get a negative 28. That would have worked as well. There are multiple options here. What if I did 64 minus 3? I get 61. 61 plus a negative 25 is 36. Either way, I get 36 for all of them here. In example 2, it asks us to decide whether the given number is a solution of the equation. How do we know it's an equation? Because it has an equal sign in there. So I'm going to plug in the value that I was given, 3. 5 times 3, 15. 15 minus 8 is 7. I get 7 equals 7. Is that true? Yes. What does that mean? That means that 3 is a solution to the equation. Now, if it isn't true, then it won't be a solution. If I look at this one in B, I have 16 minus 4 times x. Now, again, what am I going to do? I'm going to put in the value for x. There it goes. So I'm going to put in the 2. I'm going to take 16 minus 8, which equals 10. 16 minus 8 is, of course, 8. 8 does not equal 10. What does that mean again? That would mean that 2 is not a solution to that equation. It doesn't mean there aren't any solutions, just that 2 is not the particular solution to that equation. In example 3, it asks us to write each statement in symbols. So this is translating here. Can I take a sentence? Can I decode what each of the words talks about? State whether it's an inequality, an expression, or an equation. And if it's an equation, find all the solutions from those numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So I want to write each statement in symbols first. Things I look for, is equal to, or is greater than, is less than or equal to. That will tell me, is it an equation or an expression, if it doesn't have anything, or an inequality. In this case, is equal to, that means equal, so it's an equation. What's on the right-hand side? It's equal to 7. On the left-hand side, I have sum. Sum means adding. So what two things am I adding here? Okay, well, back in grade school, you probably learned about prepositions. The sum of what? Two things. A number, which number? We don't know. That's what we're going to use for x, and 3. So the sum, adding what two things? Number and 3 is equal to 7. At this point, I'm going to plug in my different numbers. So I'm going to see, does 1 work in that equation? 1 plus 3 is 7. 4 equals 7. No. What does that mean? 1 is not a solution to there. I'm going to plug in 2 and 3 and 4 and 5. So I'm going to plug in each of these to see which will work in there. So looking at this, if I plugged in 2, 2 plus 3 is 5, 5 equals 7, no. 3, no. 4, 4 plus 3 is 7, yeah, that works. 7 equals 7. Last one I should check is 5. Does 5 work? 5 plus 3 is 8. 8 does not equal 7. Therefore, 4 is the only solution out of that set that will work. So we say 4 is a solution there. In B, it says we have the product of a number and 8 subtracted by 12. First thing I look for, is there an is equal to, is less than, something like that. There isn't. So I'm guessing right now that it's probably not an equation, not an inequality, probably an expression here. The product means multiply. Again, I have that of. That tells me what things I'm taking the product of. A number and 8, so x times 8. Now we'll usually write it as 8x. Then it says subtracted by. Okay, by is the important part here. Where does that go then? Does the 12 go in front or behind? Well, if we're subtracting by a number, not subtracting from a number, okay, there's a difference there. So when we say subtracted by 12, we're taking 12 away from 8x. And again, like we mentioned before, it is going to be an expression. At this point, I don't need to test 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, only with the equation or inequality. In C, the quotient of 8 and a number is less than 4. First thing to look for is less than. Well, that's an inequality. So the inequality symbol less than is going to be there. On the right side is 4. The quotient, what does quotient mean? Quotient is what I get when I divide things. So the quotient of what two things? 8 and a number. Again, that prepositional phrase there, 8 of 8 and a number. So I could write it two different ways. I could do 8 over x, or if you prefer, I could do 8 divided by x. Okay, they both mean the same thing. Typically, we'll use 8 over x in that fraction form, but again, doesn't matter that much. So now I'm going to see what solutions will work. So I'm going to plug in 1. 8 over 1 is 8. 8 is less than 4. Is that true? No. Therefore, 1 is not a solution. I'm going to plug in 2. 8 over 2, or 8 divided by 2 is 4. 4 is less than 4. Is that true? No, 4 is equal to 4. Well, okay, that doesn't work. I'm going to plug in 3 now. Here we go. X equals 3. I have 8 over 3 is less than 4. 8 over 3, that's 2 2/3, I believe. So yes, that is less than 4. That's 1. If I plug in 4, 8 over 4 is less than 4. That's 2 is less than 4. Is that true? Yes, that is. Therefore, 4 is a solution. Last one I'm going to check, 5. X equals 5. 8 over 5, that's 1 3/5. Yeah, that's definitely less than 4. So what are my solutions from that set? It would be 3, 4, and 5. So my solutions are 3, 4, and 5. Now, I could write them in what's called set notation. Okay? That's where we have the squiggly brackets. That's really not a good one there. That's a little bit better. And we have 3, 4, and 5. Those are the answers or the solutions in that set to that inequality. Just a couple more here. Indeed, the difference of 10 and a number is 6. Is or is equal to, that means it's an equation, equals 6 on the right-hand side. The difference means subtraction. What things am I subtracting? 10 and a number. So it's subtracting 10 minus a number, x. At this point, I'm going to plug it in, see what will work in there. When I plug in 1, no. 2, no. 3, no. 4, no. Oh, wait. Does 4 work? 10 minus 4 is 6. Yep, that will work. If I plug in 5, 10 minus 5, no, that does not work as well. The last two, or I'm sorry, 3. The product. Product means multiply of a number and 8. Now, what two things am I multiplying? A number and 8, 8x, subtracted from 12. So again, there's that subtracted. Now, before we did subtracted by, this is subtracted from. So I'm starting with 12 and taking away something. So that means it's going to be 12 minus 8x. There is no equal sign, so it is an expression there. In F, the product, again, means multiply, of 3 and a number plus 5 is greater than or equal to 14. Is greater than or equal to. Okay, well, that's going to be greater than or equal to 14 on the right-hand side. It means it is an inequality here. The product. Product means multiply. Now, what two things am I multiplying here? Well, where's the prepositional phrase? Of 3 and a number. So, the product, two things that I'm multiplying, 3 and x, 3x. Okay, and then it says plus 5. So it's going to be 3x plus 5 is greater than or equal to 14. When I plug in 1, I get 3 plus 5 is 8. No, that doesn't work. If I plug in 2, 2 times 3 is 6. 6 plus 5 is 11. Nope, that doesn't work. If I plug in 3, I get 3 times 3 is 9. 9 plus 5 is 14. Yeah, they're equal. That's okay. That works. When I plug in 4, yes, that will work as well. I get 17 is greater than or equal to 14. And 5, yes, that will work as well. I get 20 is greater than or equal to 14. So my solution set is going to be 3, 4, and 5 there. In F, the last one, the second F, I changed it on your notes, should be G. The product of 3 and the sum of a number plus 5 is less than or equal to 14. Very similar to F. So is less than or equal to, okay, that's going to be an inequality, less than or equal to 14. Now, the tricky part is this, the product. Now, what two things? Of what? 3 and the sum. Well, what does sum mean? Is sum a single number? No. The sum is what we get when we add two things together. So I'm going to be adding two things. What am I adding? Well, x plus 5. But if I look, well, I want to do that first. So in order to say I want to do the sum first, the x plus 5, and then multiply it by 3, I have to use parentheses. At this point now, I'm going to plug in 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 again. When I do that, when I plug in 1, 1 plus 5 is 6. 6 times 3 is 18. Nope, that doesn't work. If I plug in 2, 2 plus 5 is 7. 7 and 3 is 21. Nope, That's not less than 14. If I plug in 3, 3 and 5 is 8. 8 and 3 is 24. Nope. If I plug in 4, nope. If I plug in 5, no. So out of 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, what are the solutions? There are no solutions in that set from the set that we were given. Does that mean that there are no solutions at all? No. Just that 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 are not solutions for that.